Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Elite Real Estate Podcast. Super excited to have a guest on today. I'm going to be bringing him on here in a second, and super excited about having him on. And I know you guys are going to be excited to listen to him too and listen to his story. It's going to be great. I'm going to bring him on now, Mr. Tristen Adams. How are you, my friend?
Hey, what's up? What's up?
Good. Get a little applause for you this morning.
Yeah, the intro is kind of cool. Like everything.
I try, man. You know, for being 51, I try to be cool. It's you know, I give it my best shot anyway. So yeah, man. I was, you know, we talked at EXPCon, and you know, I was excited. You know, and Kurt Shewell introduced us, and we had a chance to chat for a minute, and then we've been texting back and forth a little bit. But I was super excited to get you on just to get your story. And I'm gonna let you tell the story, but if you got to follow Tristen, you got to find him on his social medias, right? You got to find him on Facebook and whatever else. But man, go ahead with your story. I want to know, like, just tell everybody how long you've been in the business, you know, where you're at, all that kind of stuff, and give everybody kind of the 411 on you.
Yeah. So to go like super far back, I started working at Chick-fil-A when I was 15, or for 6.5 years, and then
My pleasure.
my pleasure, right? Yeah. So then I got to the top of the organization. I was like going down the path where I was going to own my own Chick-fil-A, but I decided against it because you can only own one business, and that's that Chick-fil-A, and you have to run it under their brand. And so I was like, you know, I want to create something of my own. So I quickly left to go make more money because Chick-fil-A doesn't pay well if you don't go and, you know, do something more with it. And so then I went to go sell jewelry, and so I was selling jewelry from 7 p.m. to 3 a.m. So I was pretty much selling to the West Coast because I'm on the East Coast. And I realized I really like sales, but I did not like selling jewelry because, you know, like we buy it for $50 and we sell it for $5,000. And then the old ladies that are buying it, they're saying like, you know, I don't know how I'm going to eat tomorrow, but sure, go ahead and purchase the ring for $5,000. Like, holy crap. So I was like, yeah, you know what? I'm kind of done with this, but how do I get out of here? I can't just leave because I'm married. I got a dog, I got bills. Yeah, I can't just leave. So I had paid for a real estate course the year before, and it expired in 30 days. So I was like, I'm going to finish this course before it expires just because. And then I finished the course, and I was like, well, I might as well take the test. And I took the test, and I was like, well, I might as well join a brokerage, which was Keller Williams at the time. And then I was like, well, man, I might as well get some business so I can make some money from this. And then I slowly got good at it, and I was like, holy crap, I kind of like this. And I started seeing like the end of the tunnel where I started stacking up some closings. And then I was like, all right, you know, if I have, you know, this much money in my bank account, I'm just leaving my job and going to full-time real estate. So I started last August of 2023. I was working 2 full-time jobs. I mean, I would wake up at 11 a.m., do real estate for 5-6 hours, and then just go right to work. And it was just a nonstop grind until eventually I could quit. And then April 7th of this year, I quit my job, just went full-time real estate.
That's awesome, man. That's awesome. But in the planning now, did you get with somebody about planning that out? Like about, you know, trying to burn the ships, right? Like that's what we call that when you get out of the thing, you burn the ships, right? So did you talk to somebody about that prior to, or did you come up with that plan on your own?
Kind of came up with it on my own. I always had a productivity coach, or I guess for my first 3 transactions, because not that I needed to learn how to be productive. I was good at that on my own, but I needed someone that could like slightly show me the ropes, like slightly guide me in the right direction. And so I didn't mind paying them for that. And then I had got to the point where I had a bunch of money in the bank account from all the closings. So then I made my expenses really, really small. And then I divided my expenses by the amount that's in my bank account. When it said 6 months, essentially I was like, you know, if I quit now, I can go 6 months and never receive a paycheck, and I'm chilling. And I still had 2 more closings coming up after that date. And I was like, well, I'm definitely chilling, so I'm just quitting.
That's awesome, man. Like the planning and the want to get out of the stuff you don't want to do, right? Like to get out of the things you don't want to do. And I think it's really cool. It's an inspiring story because, you know, one of the questions that I have, and I have agents on, you know, I've had agents that have been doing this for, you know, 20, 30 years on the show. And one of the things I always ask them is like, if you were a new agent, right? Like, what would you do different, right? You know, the things that we know now, you know, I've been in the business for over a decade, right? So the things that we know now, like, what does that look like, right? Like but you are that, right? You are that. And so how did you start to build this business? How did you, like, what got you to the numbers that you're at right now?
Yeah, so I built the entirety of my business on FSBOs for like 3 main reasons. One, I needed money quick, and so I couldn't wait around for like my family to buy or sell. Because, FSBO for sale by owners, they raised their hand and like, I'm going to sell my house. I just think I can do it by myself. And so then I was like, well, that's a very motivated lead. So I can go and call them. Also, it's a free lead because I can just go on Zillow and call them. So I'm going to pay anything. And then I also did not want to sell to my friends or family. I was a secret agent until at the closing table of my first deal because I just did not want people to know. I don't know why. I was really weird about it. And then I posted on Facebook like, hey, just closed my first deal. I'm a real estate agent, by the way. So it was kind of cool. And then like the fourth reason I chose FSBOs because I was on the phone selling jewelry. So I was like, if I'm on the phone selling jewelry, I'm sure I could do the same, which is not the same at all. I absolutely suck. Those leads were coming into me. They're like, I want to buy the jewelry. And then I'm calling FSBOs and like, I hate realtors, so it's completely different.
Yeah. Yeah. So what's your schedule look like? What when you just, so I know because your story is inspiring because this is one of the things I think the coolest things that I think you did. And you kind of glazed over it a little bit, but like you literally took a week's vacation from your job.
Yeah.
Just to do real estate to make sure you wanted to do it.
Yeah. So I'll tell that story. So I was, I had got to the point where I was like slowly picking up business more often than normal. Cause I guess like cold calling, I was like exponentially getting better, but I was like, before I quit, I'm about to just take a week off work. And so I got a paid vacation, 1 full week of paid vacation from my full-time job, but I didn't go anywhere. I just stayed in my office and just hit the phone. And I scheduled out my day as if I was full-time real estate. So I was working from 8 a.m. to 7 p.m, 5 days. And within those 5 days, I got 3 pieces of business. And I was like, all right, well, dude, like whenever I have the money, I'm gone. I know I can do it. I just got to get the money first.
Yeah.
The next month I closed 2, and that was enough to like propel me.
It's so cool, man. Like that is that because you hear agents, listen, I'm old school, right? And I always say the phone can't be beat, right? The phone can't, like if the phone can't be beat, you can tell me you want to do social media. You can tell me you want to do whatever it is, but I tell you that the phone still can't be beat, right? I'm casting a wider net. I'm touching more people faster, quicker than you can go door knock, than you can go do anything else, right? Now it scares a lot of agents off, right? So tell me about like your first, like when you first started doing this, like did you get hung up on a lot? Did you get yelled at a lot?
Dude, the whole time. And my pitch sucked. And by the way, I didn't even know what I was doing. My first 3 deals, I genuinely believe that God felt bad for me because like I was just that bad. Those 3 deals, I pretty much told him, even at the listing appointment, like, I don't know what I'm doing, but I just know I'm going to do very good at it. I told the first person straight up that, and he was like, dude, you're young and you're hungry. Like, I get it. And I killed it for him, but I just didn't know what I was doing until I got it. But yeah, when I first joined, my wife also works from home. And so like, I'm calling at like 12, like about noon, because I woke up because I worked late. And I'd be calling like, hey, this is Tristen Adams with Tristen Adams. Well, whatever it was. And she'd be like, that sucked. And so she would like slowly help me like morph like what I say to like make it more authentic to me. And it made it better. And then I slowly got to the point where I could keep people on the phone longer and then start to ask for appointments and then set appointments. And then it slowly got better. But dude, hung up on, cussed at everything. But my why was way bigger than like the pain. So I didn't really care because like I was wanting to quit my job.
Yeah. Yeah. Cause you wanted to own your own business, right? That was the why. You wanted to do your own thing and be your own person. So it's such a good story. And like, it sounds funny, but I like when I got in this business on the mortgage side. So I was on the mortgage side when I first got in. And one of the things that I used to do the same thing, I would call my wife, and I would like run through my scripts with her on the phone. Because she was a mom, right? She was busy. She was cleaning the house. Whatever. So I had to overcome those objections with her, like just being my wife. You know what I mean? Like, and she did the same thing yours did. She's like, that was terrible. Like I would hang up on you. I don't like. So I had to get my scripts better, right? And so it helps you so much. And again, what people don't understand, this is the thing, and I got the number running along the bottom there. But that number that you can call into the show, you can call in and listen to the show, or Monday through Friday, you can call in that number at 7:30 in the morning, and it's a live coaching call every day at 7:30, where we script, we role play, we do that every morning at 7:30 on that call live. So there's agents. So we've got agents on that line right now listening, and we got a good morning from Mindy. So Mindy says good morning from Indy. She's on with us every morning. And then Mr. Title, Mr. Keith Stonehouse said, good morning, fellas. So, but yeah, that number, you can, Tristan, jump in with us, hop in on that number every morning at 7:30. It will script role play. We do our thing, and we have agents from all over the country. So, on the line right now, we've got people from Miami, we've got people from Michigan, obviously, and then we've got people from Florida, we've got people from Arizona. It's pretty wild. It's pretty wild, man. So, but we have people on there every morning. So feel free to jump in with us, man. Jump in with us.
Actually, this is kind of a funny side note. I don't script practice. Never have. I've helped other people script practice and role play, but I don't. Like I just believe in just like getting into it. When I first, I should have said this. When I first started calling FSBOs, I would call people in like Michigan and like Minnesota and like Wisconsin because I did not want to call people in my state just on the off chance that they knew me. So I would practice over there and I'd come back to me.
So wait a minute, you'd call other states?
Yeah, I would just call other states, and then if it sucked, and like my wife would like scream in the other room, like, "Dude, that sucks," I'd just hang up, like, "Oh, that sucks," and I just call the next one, you know.
So you were scripting and role. You were practicing.
Oh yeah, I guess to some extent, yeah.
Yeah,
not another human, not a realtor.
Yeah, not another realtor, but you were doing it. You were taking live fire.
Yeah.
You were taking live fire, and I knew. Listen, I knew Al said you got me. Now listen, I will tell you, I knew Al would like this show because this is how Al built his business, just like you're talking about, right? Expired FSBOs, dial. There's not another guy that has his objection handlers and everything. Al's are so tight. He keeps a board out. Al's boards are famous for doing this. So I knew Al was going to enjoy this show this morning. So let me ask you this. When you look at what's your day look like? What's your daily day look like for you? Like, what does that look like?
Yep, I can tell you. So I wake up at 6. I'm in the gym by 6:05. I'm out of the gym by 6:45. I shower, take my dog out, eat breakfast by 7:45. I follow up on texts and emails from the previous night from 7:45 to 8. I do live prospecting from 8 to 9, follow-ups from 9 to 10. And then 10 to 10:30 is like kind of like a break period. And then 10:30 to 11:30 is a different time block. Like Fridays would typically be like a CRM or Google review kind of day. And then after that, I have a completely free day. So I either waste my day or I've already set some appointments from the day before or from the prospecting that day.
So you're prospecting for just a solid hour.
2 hours follow-ups.
Okay. So you got follow-up.
The way I break it up is like 8 to 9 is like prospecting. I've never talked to these people. 9 to 10, I have talked to these people. Let's move forward in the
Got you. That's awesome, man. Like that, it's so good. Like, so I coach and train agents, right? So one of the things I've always coached on, and this is how I built my business. I literally built my business. Mine was 3 hours a day, right? 3 hours of prospecting, no matter what. And so some of that is, like you said, it's the retouch, right? It's going back to somebody I talked to yesterday that maybe needed a follow up, right? So that was, but 3 hours of my day, fully prospecting were like untouchable time for me. Like those 3 hours were untouchable time. Is it the same for you?
Untouchable. No, I mean, my wife better have an emergency, and she knows, like, and she supports it. Obviously she's not like, she's like, yeah, 8 to 10, that's his time. He's going to be sitting in the room just dialing. I make very, very small exceptions. Like if the closing has to be at 9 in the morning, like it sucks, but I'll do it. Or like if I hop on a podcast or a show, like, I understand, and I'm not legalistic, but I am pretty legalistic.
So I'm messing with your time this morning is what you're telling me.
No.
Al said the best role play partners are live calls with clients. And I agree, right? Like I agree. Like it's, there's a reason that that boxers have sparring partners, right? Like you're still really boxing. You know what I mean? You're still really doing it. And I think that's totally true. So what is the next, like what's 2025 look like for you, right? Like we're rolling into the end of 2024. What is 2025? Is it the same game plan? Are you changing anything? Like does anything look different for you?
Yeah, so I'm going to, triple down on production. In the last 90 days that I've been with EXP, I've had a mentor that is just unbelievable. I had square wheels. That's the way I like to see it. Like I had square wheels. Like I was pulling the wagon. I was going to make it happen no matter what. But they just rounded the wheels, and now it's like I'm efficient. And I have systems in place. My cold calling is even better. My systems for FISBOs are just out of this world. And so another thing that I'm going to, because of EXPCon, is agent attraction. So my YouTube is going to be slightly changed to more agent attraction type videos, just helping people prospect. Facebook is going to be like connecting with agents locally. And then my Instagram might be for like buyer and seller leads. And so that's going to be like a change I have for 2025.
Got it. Yeah. How old are you?
How do you think I am?
25.
Yeah, I'm 23.
So, yeah, see, I do. I didn't want to go too young, and then I do. 25 was the top. 25 was the top. So it's impressive, man. Like it's impressive, and I like that's the thing, and I try to tell agents all the time, like you got to find your why, right? And everybody's why is different, and everybody's goals are different, right? Like not your goals aren't the same as mine, right? And they're all different. So that's where I'm big on when I'm coaching agents and training agents. My biggest thing is finding your why, but then the why behind that, right? Like why is that important to you, right? Why is that important to you? Why does that matter? And what is the differentiator? Like why are you going to be able to do this? And I think that's an important thing. So for you, what was your why? Is obviously your wife and your dog, and you got your house and you got bills, right? Like those are important things. But what's the why? What's the why? Why did you want to own a business? Why did you want to do this? Like what was the driving piece behind that?
Oh, dude, it has to just be like, I don't like when people tell me what to do. The only people allow me to tell me what to do are my parents, and I'm super respectful to them. But anyone else in school, I was a bad kid, and at Chick-fil-A, I was just a bad, like, don't tell me what to do. And especially if my idea is better than yours, and not in a rude way, like I'm not just like a douche about it, but like at gym shopping at the jewelry place, I had several good ideas that just went under the rug, and I'm like, are you kidding me? Like this is like objectively a great idea. And same with Chick-fil-A, and it's like, what? Like I don't even understand. So then owning my own business allows me to like grow it at the way I want to grow it, how I want to grow it, when I want to grow it. And so also just skills. Like I'm a skill junkie. And so like I love the skill of like cold calling. I love the skill of prospecting. I love the skill of customer service. I love to learn a new skill. So I appreciate that too.
It's so good. And it's the drive, right? Like, and it's this driving passion of, and I can see it in you. I can see it when you're talking about the business, right? Like about owning your own business. I can see it. I saw it when we were in at EXPCon, and I saw, I see it now. Like you're this driving sort of thing for you, right? Now, were you in sports? Was there something else added to that piece when you were younger?
Yeah, that's actually a good question, by the way. That's a good question. You're good at this. You're good at this. Yeah, no. So my dad, I would like to say like my dad is like my hero in that sense, where phenomenal businessman. Like, but the first half of my life he wasn't. He was like almost like not like a deadbeat, but like on the business side, he was kind of just like working like odd end jobs. But then he decided to like change his life, and I didn't realize subconsciously how impactful that was. But he started at the bottom of like this oil company. And then within 7 years, he was like the vice president of sales and like an executive over like territory. Like the dude's killing it. Like over oil, like my dad's killing it. And like that was subconsciously like a huge, like, if he can do it, I can do it. And he started from nothing. He like went up, like I can do it, but better. And like he's always talked into me and made me better. For example, in school, I graduated high school with my associate's degree before my high school diploma. I did dual enrollment with junior and senior year. I graduated with a 4.64 GPA, and then I graduated college, my 4-year degree at 19. And it's my dad. Dude, my dad is always like, just push to be your best. Like if that's your best, cool. But if it's not your best, like go harder. And so my dad's like the hero.
I love that story, man. So what? Listen, you're breaking all kinds of molds here for real estate agents, right? Most of us were terrible in school. Most of us were terrible in school. And Mindy said, skill junkie. Yes, I love it. So look, I was terrible at school. And it's because NAR did a study that said 87% of realtors have some sort of ADD or ADHD, right? And he is, I think that number's low, because how did you get 87% of us to fill out a survey? Like I never would have filled out the survey, right? Unless that's how they got the number. That's the only thing I can figure out. You know what I mean? So, but that drive and that thing is going to be, is going to be a thing. So Al says, this guy is 23, married, and did all this already at my son's age is truly amazing. I need to have a talk with my son sooner better than later. So his son's name is Suna.
Oh, Suna.
Yeah. And Suna's a good dude, but now you're going to put the pressure on him because you guys are the same age.
Nah, I hope not. Everyone's on their own path or whatever. I also always write my goals. So like I'll have to rewrite these goals for like 2025. I just put on the back of my phone. I always get a clear case and then a piece of paper and just put the piece of paper in my phone.
So so let me see that again.
Yeah. So at the top is like my 3 favorite proverbs, and then at the bottom is 2024 goals. And I always have a word of the year. The word of this year is focus. Like I've had several other like business opportunities that like have piqued my interest, but I'm just like, nah, because like buying and selling real estate, that's it, just focus. And then the main probably my favorite proverb for this year is like 16:3. Commit your actions to the Lord and your plans will succeed. You're not going to say like, please give me $1 million. You're like, look, I will make 100 cold calls a day. And if I get $1 million, like awesome. And that's like the way I see it. And then the 2024 goals, like I wanted $1 million in GCI, like no shot, like shoot for the stars, land on the moon.
Yeah.
And then 50 closed transactions. I'll probably actually hit that next year. And then buy a house in cash. Like that's a huge, like big, hairy, audacious goal. BHAG. Have you heard of that?
Yep. Oh yeah. Yep. Yeah. You see the honey badger hat behind me, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, man. So talk to me about that. Like, you're obviously you're faithful, right? How much does the faith play in your drive and in your business?
Huge. I mean, like absolutely huge. I mean, I wish I could say I was like the best Christian ever. I'm probably not. I'm probably like, if I were to compartmentalize my life, I think I'm the best Christian on the business side of things than anywhere else. And I could slowly get better at the marriage side, but like, that's besides the point. I'll always working on it. But on the business side, like I metaphorically, I see it like, Jesus always spoke in parables. I see the same thing with business. Like the farmer's job is just to plant the seeds and like, that's it. And so it's my job to go out and cold call and door knock. If something happens from it, awesome. If it doesn't, awesome. Like whatever happens. And as long as I'm doing the actions daily that's necessary to make that work, cool. Cause like a farmer's not going to go out there and just like yell at his seeds, like grow, grow, grow. You can't do that, but you're going to go out there and just like plant them every day. Just keep planting. And then it's gonna be Jesus' job or God's job to grow them. You keep watering them, he'll grow them. You keep feeding them, you grow them.
Man, the perspective in this is incredible. It's just like you're giving me so many nuggets here, man. And a lot of I think a lot of people listening, whether they're listening live or they're going to be listening in the future, will get a ton from this. Because I'm a big goal guy too, right? Like I'm a basketball guy, right? So I'm a sports guy. So like my goals, like I need a scoreboard, right? So now you just carry yours around with you because you put them in your thing, and now you know what the score is. And so it's amazing. Like Al wrote another one up here. So Al said, brilliant. Goals on the back of his phone. My brother Dave wrote his goals for the year with nail polish in his shower. So he saw them every morning and evening.
It's kind of fire.
Yeah, because I mean, like, think about that. Like every morning you get the shower, boom, that's what hits you right in the face, And I do remember hearing that story about Dave, but yeah, I think it's big for agents to understand and listen to what you're saying, because you had this big hairy audacious goal, right? The $1 million GCI. You knew you probably weren't going to get there. Right? I mean, you had a feeling you probably weren't going to get there, but you're okay with it. It's still there, right? That could be your 2025 goal, right? And this is, man, I want everybody to take away from this. This is what is brilliant about this is the fact that because this is my opinion. I am the master of my own opinion. But I feel like the reason that agents get out of this business is because they sometimes set goals like, I want to make $1 million in GCI. And then they don't do it, right? They may, let's say we set the goal, I want to make $100,000, right? And I don't make $100,000, but I make 90, right? It's more money than I've ever made. but I didn't hit my goal and I failed, right? People use that word fail a lot, which drives me crazy. But when they say that about failing, then they quit because they failed at it, right? Or they have someone telling them, somebody in their support ecosystem is telling them that they're failing because they didn't make whatever they said their goals were. But your perspective was shoot for the moon, land on the stars, right? Like I'm just going to get it out there. And I think that's an incredible thing for people to listen to and hear because it's inspiring, right? You're shooting for something that is probably not attainable until year 3, maybe. Now, heck, maybe you do it next year. I don't know. The way you're driven, man, you could nail it. I don't have any. I'm never going to question work ethic. That's for sure. But it's incredible, and I think that I think being faith and Keith said good job, young fella, keep up the faith, brother.
Thanks, Keith.
And I think that is a huge thing, and I think it's very inspiring to other people. And I know you didn't get into this business to think you were going to be inspiring, but man, you are.
So 2 things about that. By the way, my first goal was 100,000, but then my dad challenged me. We read the book 10X Rule by Grant Cardone. He's like, just make it $1 million. And so because of that, I'm actually going to end up closer to 200 rather than just 100. Imagine I just made that my goal. I would have started chilling out by the end of the year. I'm like, I already got my goal. I'm cool now. I'm chilling. No, just keep it going. And then second thing, I forget what you said. I had another good point. What was the last thing you said?
Yeah, that you're an inspiration, and you didn't get into this to be an inspiration, but here you are.
I always like to look at the end of next year, what cool story can I tell? Because I just want to tell a cool story. I like to hear myself talk, right? I don't know. So then at my deathbed, do I want to sit and tell a cool story about how I quit my job and kind of bootstrapped it, or I want to say it took me 6 years to quit my job and it kind of sucked and I slowly saved up $100 each paycheck to eventually what kind of story is that?
Man, you're gonna write a book one day, and I'm gonna buy it. It's gonna happen. I can feel it. Because look, what you did and what you're doing and continuing to do is scalable, and anybody can do it. Isn't that the crazy part? Think about that. That's the crazy part to me. Is anybody we're not heart surgeons? You know what I mean? And one of the things that I always try to tell agents is look, nobody's gonna die, right? It's gonna be okay. You might get hung up on, you might get yelled at. All those things are possible. It's probably all gonna happen. Actually, you might get cussed out. It's all gonna happen. Nobody's gonna die. You know what I mean? I had Leo Perea on, and Leo said the same thing. Leo's like, yeah, but did anybody die? I'm like, wow, it's good advice. Nobody died. Perfect. So you got 2025 goals, right? Now, have you dug in and because now we're getting into some stuff, the Grant Cardone, the 10X, right? We're getting into some stuff now. Have you done a 5-year lookout or a 10-year lookout? Have you done any of that?
Yes and no. So there's a proverb that comes to mind. It's actually one that's on my phone. So 2024, the Lord directs our steps. So why wonder how? Or it says why try to understand everything along the way? So it's I'm just gonna do every single thing I can every single day to be the best that I can be, and I might get guided. I never knew until EXPCon that I was even gonna care about agent attraction. That was the Lord directing my step, right? So do I have a 5-10 year plan? Yeah. I plan to be out of production within 5 years, maybe even before that. I'm just learning the skills necessary to be able to coach other people. Within 10 years, I'd really like to, man, I don't know. Let's see. This is going to be recorded. So it'd be cool to look back on in 10 years. Obviously, I want to start a family and have a house and cash, maybe develop something. I'd like to start a different business, outside of an agency, maybe product related or sales coaching related. I don't know.
Got it. So let me I'll give you some homework. This is what you can do.
Cool.
So it's a really cool exercise, and everybody else can do this too. But write a letter to yourself. Write a letter to your
I did that.
You already. So well, shit. I don't even have to tell anything. You already do it.
Well, I only do it for 1 year, so it's a 1 year thing.
Yeah.
And then I read it. I'm like, holy crap! And I write another one, and then it's 1 year. So I should do one for 10 years. That's a good idea.
Yeah, do one for 10 years. And see where. Because look, there's a book called The Slight Edge, and I don't know if you've read The Slight Edge, but The Slight Edge, talks about your goals, and every day you get either closer to or farther away from your goals, right? And whether that's this, whether you're getting slightly closer, right, or incrementally closer, it doesn't matter. You're still getting closer to that goal, right? And so that's, I'm a big believer in that, right? So I'm a big believer in, like, I you set these yearly goals, but how do I boil that down to what do I do on a daily basis to get to that yearly goal, right? Or what do I do on a daily basis that's going to take me closer to that, right? And one of those things for me is like a scoreboard. If I don't have numbers up and I can't see it, I feel lost, right? I feel like I don't know what I'm doing. So I appreciate what you're doing with your phone, man. Like that, and just carrying that around, I think is huge. And I you know what's going to be funny is I'm looking at the people that are on the phone and the people that are on the thing, and I'm hoping that people that listen to this later, because you can find us everywhere. You can see it on the bottom there. You can find the podcast everywhere. But you're gonna inspire somebody to do that in their phone, and I can't wait to run into somebody and see that on their phone and be like, you listen to Tristen, right? Like that's gonna be the thing. I can't wait. And so future looks like, obviously you're married already, but kids, how many kids?
I want 5. iPhone's 3, so we'll probably have 3.
Yep. Listen, man.
Yeah.
Top secret, they always win.
Yeah.
Yeah, top secret news, they always win. I've been married for 24 years. They always win.
Yeah, I think we're both kind of in agreement that we want to adopt one. I don't like. We've been, I don't know, because we don't have kids yet, so it's very hard to like commit to that. But I think we're pretty set on at least adopting one.
Okay. Yeah, man. I'm super impressed with what you're doing. And what does so the end? So let me ask you this question, because I was on a panel yesterday with Keith Stonehouse, who was mentioned over here. But what is 2024? What does the end of 2024 look like for you? Like, how do you power through the end of this? Because we're rolling up into it's we're rolling into the end of the year, right? So what is the end of, like, how are you going to power through the end of the year to make your 2025 better?
Dude, just doubling down on FSBOs and talking about, I don't know, talking about referrals. I just started getting referrals, by the way, like, because it's completely a cold database until I build it up. So just talking about, yeah, we can get into FSBOs, by the way, Al, if you want to. But yeah, I think just powering through. It's going to be like, obviously on Thanksgiving, I can't work Christmas Eve and Christmas Day. And then I'm going on vacation until New Year's. And like, I do love what I do. So like when I do go on vacation, it's kind of like, like I'm not cold calling, I'm not prospecting, but it's good to hang out with everyone and do everything.
I love it.
I didn't answer your question directly. What am I going to power through? I think I'm just going to keep doing what I'm doing. Like if I were to look back a year ago and like, what would I do differently? Nothing. Like I really feel like I've maximized and optimized just about every hour of every day.
Yeah, and one of the interesting things you said at the beginning of this was you were on square wheels and now they're rounded. And I think that like that is because I felt the same way when I first got into this, right? I felt the same way, like I was going to power through, right? No matter what. Same thing. I was married, 2 kids, mortgage, 2 car payments, and I said F it, and I did it, right? So I had a big why, right? I had a like I had to provide, right? Like instantly. And I remember when I told my wife I was doing this, and she goes, "So you're not getting paid every 2 weeks?" I'm like, "No, it's going to be great."
Yeah, it's going to be great.
Yeah. But I said the checks are going to be bigger. I just don't know when they're coming yet. So we just went in. But I feel you on that piece, and a lot of newer agents, I want them to hear that piece too, right? That piece of, I was on square wheels, I was still moving forward. It was just harder. And now that I've learned some things and I've put some systems and processes in, now I'm efficient with my time, right? So I want people to understand that piece, and that's such a strong piece to get out to people that again. And here's the other thing: you found a place that rounded your wheels. You know what I mean? Like you found systems in a place that help you round your wheels, and that's one of the things to continue on with. So, I'm always big on your vibe attracts your tribe, and when you get around the right people, and that's, again, God put you in the right spot for the right reasons, and I'm a true believer in that. We're supposed to be where we're at.
And, by the way, I massively believe in a mentor. I think there's no greater arbitrage of time than a mentor. This person has lived 56 years of their life. They've mastered a subject for 20 years, and they're going to teach it to me in 6 months. Are you kidding me? I just saved myself 19 and a half years. Like you can't beat that. I think no matter what you're doing, get a mentor, hire a mentor. Like you cannot beat. I've always had a mentor. I live and die by a mentor. As long as I can trust them in their family life, their faith, and their business, all three of those, then I like whatever they say, cool. Like I'm zoned in. Whatever you say, I'm just doing it. But if you have a great business and like your kids hate you, like I really can't focus on you. Like I'm sorry, but if your kids love you, you have a great marriage, and you're killing it in business, like what do I need to do?
I love that. Yeah, I love that. So yeah, I mean, look, yeah, Al said the same thing, right? Square wheels when you start, round wheels when it's priceless goal. And if you notice Al's typing, everything ends or starts with Al. Do you notice that? So when he wrote goal there, it's actually goal Al, right?
Or sooner.
So it's international too, by the way. But yeah, so I think that piece is huge. And again, for as quickly as you've gotten this business up and running, you were still smart and patient with backlogging your, stacking some cash, because you didn't really know when the next closing was. But you were good enough to understand, like, I know they're going to be there. I know this is going to work, but I also have responsibilities and things that I'm going to do. So that grind you went through now, and you did that. Like, were you part-time like agent for like 6 months? Was that about?
If you call it part-time, I was working from 7 p.m. to 3 a.m., go to sleep by 4 a.m., wake up at 11 a.m., get ready or whatever I got to do, and then do real estate until 5, hit the gym, and then go back to work again. And I would do that every single day. My wife and I had one date night. She knew the vision. Like I told her the vision. I was like, hey, we're not really going to see each other for these 8 months. Like she understood. I took all Saturdays off. I always take one day off. That's like my Sabbath. That's when we hang out, we do whatever. And then we have one date night. And that was just about it. Everything else was just like work, gym, work.
Man, I love it. It's so good to hear, and it's like, again, it goes back to, it's inspirational, man. And I think that you're gonna write a book one day. I see the vision. I see the vision. It's gonna be the Tristen Adams, like you're gonna 11x something, right? Instead of 10x, you're gonna 11x something. I don't know. We'll have to get Grant on and see what Grant says about it, right? We'll have to get Grant on and see what Grant says.
Yeah.
But yeah. So if we can use 11x, maybe, I don't know. Yeah. But yeah. So let me ask you this. So now with your dialing and your scripts, right? How many dials do you make? Let me ask this. Are you using a system? Are you using a dialer? Oh man.
Yeah, I know.
Get a dialer, right? Like
no. So here's the story. I do have a dialer now. But to answer your question, and this will shock you. I probably make about 10 to 15 dials in that 8 to 9 hour, because I think a very solid quality conversation, qualifying the lead for 20 minutes for me has been way better than how I used to do it, which is like, hey, can I list your house? Hey, can I list your house? Hey, can I list your house? And it was like, that was cool, but this system now is like so much better. It's so smoothed out. So I make 10 to 15. When I run out of FSBOs, I do have a dialer, and I'll just do like just sold calls or just listed or something along those lines. And that's obviously on my dialer, but all my FSBOs are just written on a paper CRM.
So your morning, are you just logging into Zillow and finding FSBOs and dialing them?
Yeah, no. So every single morning, I zoom right into my house. Like I zoom all the way in, and I click the zoom out button 9 times. And that takes me to about a 45-minute drive, no matter where it is. And I'll call every FSBO in that area. The problem whenever I'm coaching other people on the FSBOs is that they only have like half a page or 1 page. Like where I live, I'll have 3 pages of FSBOs. So like I can kind of go for a long time. But if I run out of the leads or I'm caught up on all the leads, then that's when I'll go to my dialer, so I don't have any like dull time in my business.
Got it. And then so man, you're in Georgia, so you got that many FSBOs?
It's crazy, but I'm connected to like a part of Atlanta, like the northeast side of Atlanta, and so like it's kind of popping there too. So and then Jackson County, where I live, used to be the hottest market in the nation, and so it still kind of is. And I live right at the 85, 90, 985 corridor, so like obviously this means nothing to you if you're not from here, but
Well, actually, I lived in Atlanta for a couple of years.
oh, so you understand. So right off of like 285, you have 85 splits. Well, then
Yeah.
85 splits to 985, and that's where I live. And so
Okay.
always business. And then across from Lake Lanier, that's where I have Forsyth County. I mean, there's always a FISBO. It's crazy.
Yeah. Yeah. And what people don't understand is Lake Lanier is beautiful. It's incredible, right? Like, I mean, and expensive.
Expensive. Yeah.
Yeah, and expensive. Now, when you're dialing FISBOs, are you looking at prices? Like, are you focusing on prices? Or are you're just calling all the FISBOs?
All of them. I mean, to be honest, a lot of my houses are like not the absolute best in the world. Some of them are freaking awesome. Some of them are amazing, like $1 million plus. But I just dial.
Al said he's immediately hired by you, or he's immediately hired, done, hungry, driven, and coachable. That's the thing, right? And this is one thing I teach my boys, right? I teach my kids. My oldest is 20, so he's close to your age, and my other one's 13. But that's why I always teach them. Like, the only two things you can control are your attitude and your effort. That's it. Those are the two controllable things. Everything else will benefit from what your attitude and your effort are. You know what I mean? Like, if your attitude and effort are good, everything else will be good. If your attitude and effort suck, everything else is going to suck. It's just kind of how it works.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just kind of how it works.
Unfortunately, I'm not for hire. I'm running my own business, Al, but I do appreciate it.
I told you, I knew Al was going to be the most excited about this call this morning. And I don't know if Ron's on, but Ron would be the same way. So Ron Provenzano up here too. Ron is the FISBO guy, right? Like, that's all he hunts. He just hunts FISBOs. That's it.
I don't know if he's a FISBO guy. I don't know. I'd have to hear what he says and how he does it.
We'll have to get you guys out. We'll have to get you guys together. We'll have to get someone. So listen, one of the things that I'm working on up here, we had an objection handler off, right? So You ever see the movie 8 Mile?
No.
With Eminem?
No.
Okay. Watch it, first of all. It's a great movie. But there's a rap battle at the end, right? There's a rap battle at the end, and it was based on. So we did the same thing with objections, right? So we did the same thing with objections, where you were on stage, we had over 300 people in the audience, and I gave you an objection. You had to handle the objection. You had 1 minute to handle it, and then we had 4 judges and scored it off that, and then we ended up with a winner. So, yeah. So, so I have a business partner down in Atlanta, Natalie Vaughn, and I don't know if Natalie's on this morning, but if Natalie's on, I'm gonna be down in Atlanta. We're working on some stuff for 2025 that I'll be down in Atlanta, because Natalie's a business partner of mine. She's down in Atlanta, and just open up an office down there. So we're gonna have to get together for sure. But we're gonna see about this. We'll have one of those shows down there. So yeah, for sure. So. You want to do a role play with me right now?
Sure.
All right, let's roll with it, baby. Let's do it.
What do you want me to be obviously the cold caller, I assume?
Yeah, you be you. I'll tell you no.
Yeah, I'll be like, all right, ring.
Hello.
Hey, is this the owner of Main Street?
It is.
I bet you've talked to a million realtors already.
Yeah, they're driving me crazy.
Yeah, well, hey, make it 1,000,001. Hey, are you doing for sale by owner because you're trying to save on the commission, or you don't trust realtors?
A little bit of both. You know, I had a bad experience with an agent before, and then I just figured I could do it on my own and save the money.
Yeah, no, most of them suck. I'd say like 95% of them are completely lazy. What's your experience with the last one?
Same kind of lazy, but just wasn't giving me all the information that I wanted. Right? They just weren't communicated.
Oh, what information did you need?
I just want to know what was going on with the house, right? Like we ended up expired. He tried to sell it. We ended up expired. We didn't sell it in this market. How did my house not sell? So that's why I wanted to sell it on my own. That's why I'm a FISBO.
Yeah, that's funny. If I'm willing to bet, he just put a sign in the yard and like put it on the MLS, and that's about all he did.
Yeah, dude, pretty much. He didn't communicate with me. I think that's what he did.
And then maybe if you were lucky, he like posted on social media, but I couldn't tell.
Yeah, I don't know.
And then the fourth P, I don't know if you ever heard of it, but he just like prayed for a buyer to come.
He needed to pray harder because nobody came.
Yeah. So do you know the difference between passive and active marketing?
Not really.
Yeah. So passive marketing is like where you just kind of like pray someone comes, like, oh, please, Lord. And active marketing is where you're cold calling, door knocking every single day saying, hey, do you know someone that wants to buy this house? Do you want to buy this house? Or can I sell your house? Do you know why I asked if I could sell their house?
Yeah, well, because you're a realtor and you want to sell more houses.
Heck yeah, I want to make some freaking money. But no,
Yeah.
also because I have a sign in the yard, and the more signs that I have out, the more people that call me, the more people that call me, the more people I can send to your house. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does.
Yeah. And so then the commission, are you paying a buyer's agent or no?
Well, I know that in our lawsuit, we don't have to do that anymore, right?
No, I guess you really never had to if you don't want to.
Yeah. I mean, if we don't have to, I'd rather save the money.
So you tell me, if I had a buyer and I'm going to bring the buyer, but I only want to bring the buyer for 3%, would you pay it, or you just be like, nah, don't worry about them?
Yeah. I mean, if it was only half, right? If it was only 3, I probably would work with it.
Oh, okay. So I guess you're really trying to save on that listing side of commission. Is that right?
Yeah. I'm just trying to save money on everything.
Yeah. Well, yeah, of course. I love saving some money. I don't think anyone has a problem with saving some money. Are you familiar with the NAR, the National Association of Realtors? It sounds like you are.
Well, yeah, I just read the news, that they got sued and all that.
Yeah, I don't know too much about it. I'm not an expert in like legality, but I do know real estate. They put out an article stating that for sale by owners will do one of 3 things. They'll either A, unlist their property because they don't really like gotta sell, or they'll like rent it. B, they'll list their property with an agent because all they're doing is just getting blown up by phone calls and investors and wholesalers. Or C, they'll sell houses for 12% less than what agents sell houses for. And you're like, how's that even possible? So you could end up paying me 10% in commission and still save 2%.
Oh, that's interesting.
So what's funny about that is like, one, like I'm a salesman, so obviously I'm just gonna like blow smoke up your butt, right? But what's funny about that is I had this house over in Lawrenceville, kind of like where you live, on the other side of Lawrenceville, and it was funny because they had their house listed for sale by owner at $339,000. And I guess before I get into that story, have you noticed that Zillow kind of hides your property?
No, I mean, mine's on. I know mine's on Zillow.
Yeah. And so what's funny, do you know what's changed with them in the last 2 years or no?
No, I have no idea. I just put I just know I can put it on there.
Yes. You'll notice the only people that are calling you are agents, investors, and wholesalers. Am I wrong?
No, it's been agents and they're driving me crazy.
Yeah. And that's because you show up on the agents list. We know where to look, but the buyers don't know where to look. And they hide your property. Do you know why they hide your property?
No, I have no idea.
Because they don't want you to sell. It was free for you to post for sale by owner, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And so they don't want you to sell. What they want you to do is list with the Zillow agent, and then they make a fat commission check. But until then, like, look, when we hang up the phone, try looking for your house without typing in the address, and you won't find it. Type in 3 bed, 2 bath, 1,500 square feet. Get super specific. Put Lawrenceville, put 300,000, and you'll notice that you can't find it because they don't want you to sell it. They want you to list with an agent.
Interesting.
So here's the funny story I was telling you about the house over in Lawrenceville. They were listed for $339,000, and they weren't getting any traction, just agents and investors and wholesalers. And so they dropped the price to $329 because they're like, that's the problem. The problem is the price, right? That's why no buyers are calling me. And so they kept it on the market and dropped it to $319 because they're still not getting any calls from buyers. It's just agents and investors and wholesalers. And so then they still weren't getting anything. So they dropped the price to $315. And this is after 72 days. They were on the market for 72 days for sale by owner.
Wow.
Right place, right time. I just happened to call them the right place. I relisted it for them at $349. So we jumped the price up $34,000. Within 7 days, we sold for $355. So I made a fat commission check. The buyer's agent made an even bigger commission check. And then my seller made $30,000 more.
Oh, that's incredible.
So I'm not saying what?
So you're telling me you can sell it for more?
I'm not telling you anything. I'm just providing information.
Okay.
I had this other house over in Duluth. This one was super cool. She had it listed for $329 for sale by owner. And then she went to $319, same situation. She's like, I'm not getting any calls from buyers. So she dropped the price. And then to $315. And so then I call her, right place, right time, apparently. I jumped the price back up to $329. And within 2 days, we had multiple offers and sold for $334. So I made a fat commission check. The buyer's agent made a fat commission check. And then my seller still made more money, even after paying us money.
Yeah. That sounds interesting.
So I'm not saying I can never promise anything, right? Like I don't have like a magic globe, snow globe, and I can't say like, you're for sure going to make more money. I'm for sure going to make you more money. I'm going to pay for myself. But I will say I've always paid for myself. I don't know how it happens. Maybe it's just God. Maybe it's not. Whatever happens, happens. But if that's something that interests you, I actually will be beside your neighborhood tomorrow at 2 and then coming back at 4, would 2 or 4 be better for you tomorrow if I were to just stop by?
4.
4? Awesome. You know what? I'll see you then.
Perfect. Nice job, man. I love it because it's just conversational, right? I love it because it's just conversational. And now let me ask you this though.
Yep.
So when you first did this and you didn't have a listing, right? And you didn't have a story.
Yeah.
Did you tell a story?
Nope. No, I've never. I don't know. I just don't lie. Like,
yeah.
The first go around, I remember my very first listing. I told him, I was like, hey, your pictures suck. And then that kind of set me apart. And then he always remembered me. And then I called him back a week later. I was like, hey, how'd that open house go? And he's like, not so good. No one came. And I was like, no kidding. That house is awesome. It should have sold already. Right. Like, no, it's not actually going to sell. And then talked to him. He's like, I'm actually thinking about getting this offer. It's an offer for $380,000. And I was like, wow, that's awesome. But that kind of scares me. Like, if you're only getting $380,000 for a for sale by owner, this guy that just happens to see the sign is willing to pay $380. What if someone across the state is willing to pay $420? Would that make you happy? And he's like, well, yeah, but how would that make sense? And I was like, dude, let's go over it. Would tomorrow at 2 or 4 o'clock be better for you?
Yeah.
So pretty much showed up to the listing appointment, just went through it.
I love it, man. Like, and again, it's conversational. It's easy. It's kind of how I always went about mine. You got to the tie down. You got everything in there, and I love it. It makes sense. It's like, again, because what happens is, this is one of the things that I coach and teach on all the time. Is we get too salesy, right? We get too salesy, and we're not conversational enough. And once we get too salesy, it's off-putting. People just don't like it.
So weird. And that's why it sucked my first few months. It was so weird because I'm literally just hard selling them.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's weird. Like, people don't like it anymore. You know what I mean? Like, in the 80s, you don't know this, but in the 80s, like, that was what everybody wanted to do, right? If you've seen Wolf of Wall Street, right? Like, that's what everybody wanted to do. Was, climb the yes ladder, get, sell me this pen. Like, it was all the thing, right? It was all the thing. But even if you break down the sell me the pen, it still goes back to asking questions.
Oh, no. Am I the only one on this? Can you hear me?
Yeah. I don't know what the heck happened there.
Someone did not want us to sell a pen.
I know, right? Maybe the wolf just hit a button on us. I don't know what happened.
Yeah, he hates pens. What were you saying?
But no, it goes back to asking questions, right? Like, why are you moving? What, and then giving them the same thing, giving them what you did in your script is what I like too, is you found a problem. Their problem was, and the thing that you were solving was, you told them exactly, your pictures suck. It's blatant truth. It hurts. It hurts. Like, man, my pictures do suck. Right. So, and then what's your follow-up with them? Like, if I would just tell you at that point, like, yeah, call me like tomorrow or something. I don't have time to talk right now. Give me a call later. Is your follow-up pretty similar? Just digging into what their issues are?
Ooh. No one tells me to call me back later, honestly.
Really?
Dude, like, no kidding. If I pride myself on anything in cold calling, it's actually keeping them on the phone and having a conversation. Like, and to the point, like, they want to hear what I have to say. Like, I never, by the way, like, I never ask a question I don't know the answer to. So I'm never going to say, how are you? Because they might say, my mom died. I was like, how do I continue this conversation? I'm never
right.
And so like, I think about like an algorithm chart, those like, do I eat cereal? And it's like, yes, do this, or like, no, do this.
Yeah.
It's like an algorithm chart with the FSBO is called, like, is it because of the commission or you don't trust realtors? Oh, it's both. Like, let's address one at a time. Like, what was your situation with the realtor? Okay, you tell me about that. Really, that's not the problem. It's the commission. So I'll just go and handle this, and we'll go right back into the commission. And then when I start talking about the commission, that's when I can go back down that whole algorithm chart that I just went down.
Oh man, I love that. Because so that's the problem with a lot of script writing, right? With a lot of script writing is people write out the entire script, right? And then this is where I think the distraction comes in for people. And again, agents that are listening to this either now or later, really let this resonate. because the algorithm thing I think is brilliant. And because mine are bullets, right? I have bullets for my scripts. I don't have my scripts written out. They're bullets, right? And again, it keeps me on track. It lets me know where I'm at in my call, right? But the problem is everybody tries to memorize the entire thing, right? And then you sound like, are you selling your house at 123 Main Street, right? And it sounds horrible. You're like, why are you calling me? And I think that's where your advantage is just having a conversation with people.
Yeah, that's why I don't think of it as a script. I end up saying the same thing a million times a day, but it really is just conversation. Because I mean, there might come to the point where I still go down that script and they're like, and I just had this yesterday. Like the dude's like, hey, thanks for the information. You know, my friend, he's a realtor. I've used him 20 years in a row. I think we should go ahead and have him listed. I'm like, dude, awesome. I think you should. Now, just out of curiosity, like if you were to mess up anything, then I just go down a whole nother like objection, and I'll keep playing it down. But he's already gonna use his friend, but there's an off chance that he ends up using me. But it's like awesome. I want him to go list a house because it's the best thing for him. If it's not me, like I'm excited for you. If it is me, I'm excited for you. And as long as you can have like that framework of like a good salesman really just wants the best thing for him, and the best thing for him is actually to list their house. If it's not me, I'm excited. Like, dude, I'm so excited. If it is me, even better.
Man, perspective again, right? Perspective. And I think that is one of the biggest takeaways out of everything we've talked about today is your perspective on this is you truly are in this to help people, right? And that's one of the things I try to coach agents on all the time. Start helping people, stop selling and start helping, right? And be a support to people, because at the end of the day, that's really what they need. They need our help, you know. And that's one of the things, like you said, FSBOs already have their hand up. They're already there with their hand in the air, going, "Hey, I," and maybe they got burnt by a realtor. Maybe something happened in the past. Maybe they got divorced from a realtor. Who knows, right? Like, who knows what happened? And they don't like but they've been sold. That's the problem. They've been sold over and over and over again, and they don't want to be sold anymore, right? They just want help selling their house. And I think that's one of the biggest things we can provide as realtors is just selling, stop selling and start helping people. And I feel like that will be the biggest thing for everybody going forward is just stop selling, start helping, and putting people in the right places at the right time. And I look, man, I said we got about 3 minutes left, and I want you to kind of wrap a little bit with, again, I ask this all the time. If you were to start again in this business brand new, knowing what you know now, would you change anything?
Dude, no. Like I really think I optimize every hour and every day to the best of my ability. My dad has a tattoo that says "Go ballsy or go home." And it's on his stomach, but it's like,
wait, it says what?
Well, it's actually GBOGH, but it means go ballsy or go big or go home. Like either do your best or don't. And so he always told me, like, when I was playing soccer, do your best, try hard, and have fun. Like that's all you gotta do. If you do one of those two. So if I were to go back and do anything different, like no, like I really just about everything I did was it was the best that I could have done. And I love starting with FSBOs and learning FSBOs because if you can take a listing and sell a FSBO, a referral is just cheese, dude. It is so cake. Sphere of influence is cake. Door knocking is cake. FSBOs are the hardest because you have FSBOs who are literally saying, I want to sell my house. I hate realtors. So not only do you have to get them to like use a realtor, but to use you to turn around and go back the opposite direction and then list with you. Like if you can get them to do that, you can do anything in real estate.
Man, you're right. You're 100%. So the two hardest, FSBOs and expireds, right? FSBOs and expireds. Expireds are tough because they hate agents because their house just expired, right? Like that's, and they've already had their hand raised too, right? Like they've already had their hand.
By the way, my favorite for the expireds is like, have you ever had a bad cheeseburger?
Oh yeah, I love that's my. Have you ever burnt your mouth on pizza?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah,
that's my favorite.
Yeah, we can give these cheesy one things out all the time. Yeah, have you ever burnt your mouth on pizza? Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. But man, I am super happy that you joined us today, and I'm glad you were able to jump on with us for a minute and give us this hour. This hour goes by quick, especially when it's entertaining. And so I appreciate you coming on, Tristen, very much. I know you're going to be awesome, and we're going to get you back on the show in 2025 because I want to see where you're at and where you're going and where you're headed to. So I appreciate you, my man. Thanks for jumping on this morning. Breakfast Clubbers, thanks for jumping on the call. Join us on that call next week, Tristen. We'll get you on there. We'll do some objection handling on there too. So we'll handle all that then. But all right, guys, I appreciate it. Everybody hang out. The Elite Real Estate Podcast. We'll talk to you next Friday. Download us, like, subscribe, click the little bells on YouTube and wherever else. But I'll talk to you guys next Friday.